Hello guys, welcome to my new video. It's about the history of pandemics. So what's a pandemic? So a pandemic is an outbreak of a disease that occurs over a wide geographic area and affects an exceptionally high proportion of the population. And first one is the plague of Athens. So let's talk about this one. It is the earliest recorded pandemic happened during the Peloponnesian War between the Athens and the Sparta. So this plague killed as much as two-thirds of the population, estimated 75,000 to 1 lakh people. So the symptoms include fever, thirst, bloody throat, red skin and lesions. Here comes the Antonine Plague. It was possibly an early appearance of smallpox that began with the Huns. From the Huns, the Germans caught the infection, who passed it to the Romans, and then it spread throughout the Roman Empire. The disease may have claimed the life of the Roman Emperor Lucius Verus and claiming Emperor Marcus Aurelius as one of its victims. A quarter to the third of the entire population died, around 60 to 70 million. And these are the symptoms of the plague. The next one is the Cyprian plague. It is believed that the plague of Cyprian emerged in Ethiopia around Esther of 250 AD. The next year it reached Rome, eventually spreading to Greece and further east to Syria. The plague lasted nearly for 20 years and it killed as many as 5,000 people per day in Rome. It was named after the first known victim, the Christian bishop of Carthage. The symptoms were diarrhea, vomiting, throat ulcers, and fever. There were recurring outbreaks over the next 3 centuries. The next one is the Justinian plague. It first appeared in Egypt. The Justinian plague spread through Palestine and Byzantine Empire and then throughout the Mediterranean. It killed about 50 million people, 26% of the world population. These were the symptoms. The next one is the leprosy. It grew into a pandemic in Europe in the Middle Ages. It resulted in the building of the numerous leprosy focused hospitals for accommodating the vast number of victims. It's a slow developing bacterial disease that causes sores and deformities. Leprosy was believed to be a punishment from the god. Here comes one of the deadliest pandemic of the human history, the Black Death. It was responsible for the death of one third of the world population, approximately 200 million people. This plague possibly started in Asia and moved west to the Carva, entering through Sicily in 1347, and then it spread rapidly throughout Europe. England and France even called a truce to their war. Here comes the Great Plague of London. There was a huge increase in deaths during the Great Plague of London in 1665 and 1666. The number of deaths is suspected to have exceeded 1 lakh out of the total estimated at 4 lakh 60,000. This plague was caused by Yersinia pestis bacterium. The next one is the first cholera pandemic. This wave of small intestine infection originated in the Russia, the first of the 7 cholera pandemics over the next 150 years, where 1 million people died. The bacterium was passed along to British soldiers who brought it to India, where millions more died. The symptoms include large amount of watery diarrhea, vomiting, muscle cramps, fever, delirium, painful swelling of the lymph node in the neck, etc., spreading through feces, infected water and food. Now, Fiji measles pandemic. After Fiji ceded to the British Empire, a royal party visited Australia as a gift from Queen Victoria. They arrived during the measles outbreak. The royal party brought the disease back to their island and it spread then. These are the symptoms. It was spreading so quickly that the island was littered with the corpses that was scavenged by wild animals. Here comes the Russian flu. The flu pandemic started in Siberia and Kazakhstan, traveled to Moscow and then into Finland and then Poland, where it moved into the rest of the Europe. Then it reached North America and Africa. By the end, this much amount of people had died. Next one is the Spanish flu. At the time, there were no effective drugs or vaccines to treat this killer flu strain. It was first observed in Europe, the United States, and parts of Asia before spreading around the world, resulted in 50 million deaths worldwide. Victims died within hours or days of developing the symptoms, their skin turning blue and their lungs filled with fluid. These are the symptoms of the Spanish flu. Next one is the HIV/AIDS outbreak. The human immunodeficiency virus infection and acquired immune deficiency syndrome. AIDS basically destroys a person's immune system, resulting in eventual death by diseases. "35 million people worldwide have died of AIDS. It is believed to have developed from the chimpanzee virus from West Africa. Now, here comes the SARS. Severe acute respiratory syndrome. These are the symptoms of SARS. It is believed to have possibly started with bats, spread to cats, and then humans in China. Almost 26 countries were affected by SARS at that time. Quarantine efforts prove effective in this case. Here comes the current pandemic, COVID 19, also known as the coronavirus. These days, almost everyone know about COVID 19 or the coronavirus. Many learned about COVID 19 after Dr. Li Wenliang defied the government order and released information about the disease. These are the common symptoms of the COVID 19. Thank you so much for watching the video. Do like, share, and subscribe.